The adequate notice of this regular meeting as required by the Open Public Meetings Act was provided by the posting, mailing, delivery, and filing of this notice on January 9th, 2023. This notice was on those dates posted in the bulletin board in the township office, sent to the Courier News and Tappan Warren, and filed with the township clerk of the Township of Warren, all in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. Please join me in rising for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I will call the roll. Mr. Desai.
Here.
Mrs. Spitebaum.
Here.
Ms. Keller.
Here.
Mr. Otto. Mr. Tor. Mr. Valentino. Mr. Weinstein. Mrs. Zahn.
Here.
Mr. Brzee.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Resolved that the Board of Education approves the public and private session minutes of the July 17, 2023 board meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Shall I call the roll?
Yes, please.
Mr. Desai.
Yes.
Mrs. Spitebaum.
Yes.
Ms. Keller.
Yes.
Mrs. Zahn.
Yes.
Mr. Brzee.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Correspondence and information. I will turn it over to Dr. Mingle.
Thank you, Mr. Brzee. In the area of correspondence, the board received 2 emails regarding the Warren Middle School PTO Zoo fundraiser event.
Thank you, Dr. Mingle. Welcome, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining us this evening. Hope everyone is having a fantastic summer. Special thank you to our buildings and grounds for all the work they've been doing throughout the schools, the grounds, everything that they do during the summer when we all think it's quiet, and they are working harder than anyone. So appreciate all that they're doing in preparation for the new staff that will be here. New staff later this week, as well as all of our returning staff next week. So certainly looking forward to having all of our staff together next week. And then, of course, certainly welcoming the students and families into the district later next week as well. Along those lines, item C1 in the agenda, I want to formally welcome all of the new staff that will be joining us this school year, and certainly looking forward to working with them. And with that, I will turn over to Dr. Mingle.
Thank you, Mr. Brzee. A few things from me. First, to piggyback, the first day of school for students is on Thursday, August 31st. That's next Thursday. Earlier this afternoon, homeroom teacher assignments for elementary school students, middle school schedules, and bus routes for all students went out. If anybody's having trouble, please contact your school for assistance, but all that information should be out through the student information system in Genesis. We, as Mr. Brzee mentioned, will be welcoming a large number of new staff this week at our new staff induction program on Wednesday and Thursday. Thank you to Curriculum Supervisor Stacy Meduno and ALT Principal Christine Smith, who are helping facilitate that, along with the support of the rest of the administrative team. And thank you to our principals and all of our other hiring managers for their work, especially over the last 5 weeks or so, making sure that we're ready to go for the first day of school. Now I have a brief statement to read, and for our media partners, you can contact our communications coordinator for a copy of the statement as well. In early July, various media outlets reported on a lawsuit directed against the Warren Township Board of Education and certain staff members, stemming from an alleged incident in July 2021. At that time, we released a statement asserting that both the board and the individuals named in the lawsuit vehemently refuted the allegations and were committed to robustly defending their position. On July 28th, the board and the named individuals filed a motion to have the lawsuit dismissed. Following subsequent dialogues, the original plaintiffs opted to voluntarily withdraw the lawsuit. As a result, the lawsuit has been officially removed from the court's docket. This withdrawal and dismissal underscore the consistent adherence of the Board of Education and its staff members to district policy, state and federal laws, and most crucially, the well-being of our students throughout the entirety of this matter. While we are relieved by the prompt resolution of this issue, enabling us to embark on a new school year unburdened, it remains disheartening that our staff members had to endure groundless allegations and unwarranted criticism that transcended local boundaries. We extend our gratitude for the overwhelming support we have received and acknowledge the diligence of our legal advisors. This experience reinforces our commitment to maintaining a safe and nurturing educational environment while also cultivating resilience in the face of challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mingle. Moving on to on the agenda, we have nothing scheduled for presentations, no discussion items. We will move into committee reports. Curriculum and Technology did not have a meeting. We will move to Finance, Operations, and Security. And Mrs. Zahn, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Brzee. The Finance, Operations, and Security Committee met Monday, August 14th, with all members present. The first item discussed was a summary of the Phase 1 freshwater wetlands delineation analysis. That first phase of work did not determine whether proposed construction, and this we're talking about the proposed construction of a possible kitchen at the middle school, whether proposed construction would fall within the wetlands and would not provide support needed to gain DEP approval. And consequently, appearing on the agenda this evening as item B10 for approval is a proposal for an expanded wetlands analysis. We are the committee does recommend that be approved. Following that discussion, there was a somewhat lengthy conversation about the preparation for an executive committee meeting, which will take place following the public session of our September meeting regarding security items. And I encourage all of the board members to familiarize themselves with the links and the information attached to the Finance Committee agenda in preparation for that conversation. The finance buddies will be contacting their buddies sometime before September to go over any of the information that is attached and to make sure that we have all the information necessary to respond to questions during that executive session. And also note, please, on the agenda is the first run at a 5-year financial plan. That was provided to the committee for information only and will be discussed at a future meeting, but is made available as part of the agenda for all board members to look at. The next meeting is Monday, September 11th.
Thank you, Mrs. Zahn. We will move on to Personnel Negotiations and Communications Committee. Ms. Keller.
Yep. The Personnel Negotiations and Communication Committee met on Tuesday, August 15th. There were 2 board members present. We reviewed the chain of command document, which outlines the best process for handling community questions, concerns, or complaints. And that's on the agenda for approval tonight, which is item A7. And we also reviewed a job description for a new role, the BCBA, which is the Board Certified Behavior Analyst, which is also on the agenda tonight for approval, item C21. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Keller. Moving on, public commentary. This is our first of 2 public commentaries. This is for agenda items only. If any member of the public wishes to provide their comments and feedback to the board, we would certainly be welcome to hearing those. If you could kindly state your name, address, group affiliation, if appropriate, you'll have 3 minutes to share with the board your comments and feedback. This is for agenda items only. We're going to skip the room tonight. We're going to go straight to Zoom. If there's anyone on Zoom, if you could kindly use the raise your hand feature. Mrs. Andrews, please.
Hi, everybody. This is Nancy Andrews. I am the president of the Warren Township Education Association. And I just wanted to take the time to congratulate and welcome all of our new hires. And for those who have chosen to find jobs elsewhere, that I wish them well, and looking forward to meeting everybody in the new year. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Andrews. And actually, that reminds me, well, let me add after. Any other additional public commentary? If you could use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. Seeing none, is there a motion to close public commentary?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? The first public commentary is now closed. So Mrs. Andrews, this is completely my oversight. Item C5 on the agenda, I do want to very much extend the congratulations to these members of the staff who are moving along in the guide. Certainly, Dr. Zagombic That is a career milestone. So congratulations there. And again, my apologies for the oversight on that. But thank you, Mrs. Andrews, for the reminder. Moving on to agenda items. Dr. Mingle, are there any that you wish to provide comments on?
Just a few quick comments. Ms. Keller mentioned the communications process flow chart, which is item A7. That information will be published on the district website tomorrow, assuming board approval tonight. And it gives information for parents, community members, others about the order in which they should reach out to people for assistance on a whole variety of issues so that we can try to get to a solution and answer at the quickest and best level possible. So that'll be up on the website tomorrow to be embedded in handbooks that go out to different community groups as well. Items A8 and A9 follow on work that the board did last month at this meeting, the board goals and the district goals. You notice the district goals, in addition to having the big topics, have numerous sub-bullet points to kind of flesh them out a little bit. The board will be receiving the proposed action plans in their update later this week for the first quarter of the year, but that information is there for the entire community. And pending approval, outreach will happen this week to those who have expressed interest or previously served on the stakeholder committees for the strategic plan to see what areas people might be interested in getting involved with moving into this school year. And then finally, I wanted to point out item D1, which is policy. Typically, policies are on an agenda twice before they go into effect. However, due to there's a process in the bylaws to suspend a 2 reading and adopt a policy immediately upon 1 reading, which is what is on D1 tonight. And that's because of legislation that takes effect on September 1st. And we are required to have policies that reflect that legislation before September 1st. We couldn't have done it earlier because the state hadn't issued its guidelines yet. So they're on the agenda for 1 reading only, but that's the reason why.
Thank you, Dr. Mingle. Are there any board members who have questions or would like to pull any agenda items for a separate vote, discussion? Okay, seeing none, Mrs. Zahn, if you would guide us along.
Motion to approve items for board consideration. Section 12, items A 1 through 9, B 1 through 12, C 1 through 24, and D 1.
Motion.
Second. We have a roll call, please, Mr. Hagel.
Sure. Mr. Desai,
Yes.
Mrs. Fightbaum,
Yes.
Ms. Keller,
Yes.
Mrs. Zahn,
Yes.
Mr. Brzee.
Yes,
Motion's passed 5-0.
thank you. Moving on to unfinished business, I do not believe we have any. Similar for new business, I'm not aware of any. The board member has one, which will bring us to public commentary. This is our second and final public commentary for this evening's board meeting. This can be on any agenda, on any topic, agenda or otherwise. Any person who wishes to provide their comments and feedback to the board will have 3 minutes after they provide their name, address, group affiliation, if appropriate, and the board would certainly be very open to hearing what you have to say. If there's anyone on Zoom who wishes to participate in the second and final public commentary, please use the raise your hand feature. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the second public commentary? Motion. Second?
Second.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, the second public commentary has closed. I will entertain a motion to
Motion to adjourn.
conclude. Yeah. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Have a wonderful rest of summer.
Thank you,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.